It's been years since the Detroit Lions have had any type of legitimate identity. And now that they are winning, and yes, they are winning, they've won 9 out of their last 11 games. They are starting to develop an identity. And I think they already have one. And that is, it all started with Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, from the kneecap speech to the way they finished 2021 to how they came from like the ashes of 2022 and was just a half game out of the playoffs. But a lot of that identity is starting to be established. And I think when you face the Detroit Lions, you know what you're going to get. And Coach Campbell's whole kneecap thing on the way up, I mean, it makes perfect sense. I knew what he was talking about when he said it, that we will always fight and we're always going to take a chunk out of you. That's what we're going to do. So that identity has started to been, in my opinion, has been established already, and teams are going to know that when they play us. But one thing we're used to as Detroit Lions fans is when it's the disrespect, is the continual disrespect. Now, you see my live streams. I talk about how if teams go for it on 4th down, that they're being disrespectful. They're saying, you know what, we're going to make your defense stop us on 4th down. Because if you think about it, we get into the habit of punting. You have 3 opportunities to get 10 yards. If you don't, then you usually punt it away. But over the past few years, we have seen an increase in 4th down attempts. And I look at it very disrespectful. But I guess on one hand, you can say, hey, if you don't want us to convert, you need to stop us, or we're going to keep doing it. Right? I've always viewed it as disrespect, and I say it during my live streams. But I like this identity that the Detroit Lions are starting to kind of establish. We knew about the grit, the kneecap, but the players that we have this year, the Brian Branches, the CJ Gardner Johnsons, those guys are bringing a different type of identity, bringing something new to our team. The CJ Gardner Johnson had a problem with the 4th down and 25 that the Chiefs had. Now, I was there kind of trying to remember. It was a rough, crazy 4th quarter, loud, and I remember that I'm watching the defense step up, and it's 2nd down turns to 3rd down, 3rd down turns to 4th down. And I think this is on the opposite side of the 2-minute warning. So it was the plus side of the 2-minute warning. They had all 3 timeouts, and they decided to go for it. Here's the scenario. Let me paint this for you. It says on 4th and 25, coming from USA Today, with 3 timeouts in his pocket, the Kansas City Chiefs coach opted not to punt despite being positioned on his own 30-yard line. Instead, Andy Reid gave Patrick Mahomes another crack at the Detroit Lions defense. And it says somebody seemed mighty insulted about that decision. No respect. Lions defensive back CJ Gardner Johnson told USA Today Sports amid the festive visitors' locker room after the stunning 21-20 victory. You're going for it on 4th and 20. You've got no respect for us. And it was actually 4th and 25. And I remember sitting there saying, yeah, anytime to me, a team is going for it on 4th down and the game is not on the line, so to speak. I think, like I said, this is on the plus side of the 2-minute warning. The Kansas City Chiefs, maybe they didn't trust your defense or their defense to stop our offense. But I like the way CJ Gardner Johnson is looking at this. And you can tell, too, because the team felt very disrespectful. I want to say it was an incomplete pass. It wasn't even close to a 1st down. So then they had to wind up putting their defense out there to begin, or anyway. And then the Detroit Lions were able to seal the game and then have victory formation. But here's something more that CJ Gardner had to say. He said, that's not going against the players. It's the coordinators not thinking we're going to be prepared in that situation. I just thank AG Aaron Glenn, Detroit's defensive coordinator, for putting us in the right situation to win the game. So again, he wasn't talking about the players were being disrespectful because they're just doing something that they were told to do. But he's saying the coordinators had no respect for our team. So I like this attitude that CJ Gardner Johnson brings. I know a lot of y'all was like, well, I saw something in the comment section about the things that he gave up and it's too early. Why is everybody giving praise to CJ Gardner Johnson? Because of the stuff like this. And not only that, but the playmaking ability. And if you watch my video when the players were warming up, I was talking about how locked in they all were. But CJ Gardner Johnson was a different level of locked in. He looked like he was angry. He looked like he was just, his face, man, you could see his cheeks clenching, his jaws clenching. I mean, it was crazy. So I like this type of attitude that he's bringing to our team. One, we're not going to take this anymore. If you're going to go for it, we're going to make teams pay for trying to disrespect us on fourth down. Who used to be notorious for doing that? Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. They just would continually do it. And Detroit started stepping up last year. So I love this. I love this new look, this new attitude. And I think it's going to bring us that we were talking about going into a game. And instead of expecting to lose, we're expecting to win that game. That's a feeling we haven't had in a long time. I don't remember when I've had a feeling of expecting to beat a team. Just you don't expect to lose. We watch games where we know a call goes a certain way. Justin Tucker, that field goal, for example, I knew once they didn't call the delay of game that this team was going to lose. But now, even remember that fourth down and whatever it was, Infinity last year with the New York Jets, that Zach Wilson converted to get them in field goal range. I don't think that type of stuff happens this year on a consistent basis. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below on CJ Gardner Johnson's disrespect comments. I love it. I love everything, the swag, the attitude that this team is starting to have. But I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.